Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gordon. We are back with another video. Today we're jumping in to talk about how you can purchase subnet alpha tokens on the Bittensor ecosystem on MEXC. As always, if you enjoy the content, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button below, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification icon, and don't forget to grab your completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin. Link for that in the description below this video. Grab it now and let's talk about subnets on centralized exchanges. Okay, so those of you who have been following the channel know that I've been covering the Bittensor TAO ecosystem pretty extensively here over the past year or two, and we are seeing some pretty interesting developments with regards to subnets in the ecosystem here over the past couple of weeks. What we're seeing now is the ability for you and other retail investors to go ahead and get access to purchasing subnet alpha tokens directly on centralized exchanges, just like MEXC. Now, if all of this sounds like absolute jargon to you, I urge you to go back and look at some of the other videos on my channel, understanding what subnets are first and foremost, and understanding that all of these individual subnets are acting like mini startups on the Bittensor network, all competing against one another for a share of the daily emissions from the Bittensor network. So definitely go back and check those videos out to get the additional context. And the reason why this is a big deal is because up until now, the way that you have pretty much had to get access to these subnet alpha tokens is by purchasing the Bittensor TAO token itself, getting that into a self-custody Bittensor wallet, like a Bittensor.com wallet, a Talisman wallet, a Crucible Labs wallet, and then subsequently being able to purchase subnet alpha tokens from there, either directly in the wallet or on protocols like TAOstats or Backprop Finance. So the barrier to entry for getting access to these subnet alpha tokens has definitely been a little bit higher compared to other ecosystems over the past 6 to 9 months since the inception of DTAO and the subnet alpha token upgrade that happened in February of 2025. And so what we're now seeing is the barriers to entry lowering with the listings of these subnet alpha tokens beginning to happen on centralized exchanges. The other thing to mention here is that, for context, when you are looking at these individual subnet alpha tokens, and I'm going to use Shoots as the example for today's video, when you're looking at subnet alpha tokens, the first thing you need to understand is that they are denominated in tau. Okay. Every individual subnet has its own alpha token, also with a max supply of 21 million alpha tokens, and they are denominated in tau. What does that mean? Well, it means that the price of one Shoots token is 0.087 tau at this moment in time. Now, sites like TAOstats will conveniently give you the dollar denomination of that based on the current live price of the TAO token, but understanding that they are denominated in TAO terms and that, technically speaking, you are staking TAO into the liquidity pool for TAO versus Shoots in this example in order to receive the Shoots subnet alpha token in return. Okay, that is a very important factor because when you look at the market cap of all these different subnet alpha tokens, those market caps are denominated in TAO terms. Okay, you can see that the market cap of Shoots is technically 304,000 TAO. Okay, again, we can get the dollar value of that market cap at 99 million US dollars, but first and foremost, primarily, it is denominated in TAO terms. There can never be a market cap for a subnet that exceeds 21 million TAO because that's how many will ever be in existence. And yes, we can get the dollar denominated value, but as the dollar denominated value of TAO increases, so too will the subnet. So I'm saying all of that because the barrier to entry for understanding all of that can be a little bit tricky or difficult for newcomers or retail investors coming into the Bittensor TAO space. And just like I alluded to, there is listings now on MEXC for a number of these higher profile individual subnet alpha tokens. The first 3 subnet alpha tokens that are now available on MEXC are Hippias subnet, Shoots, and liam.io. Okay. Again, I've been posting about this on X. If you're not already following me on X, guys, feel free to jump over. You can find me at Gordon Frayne on X, posting lots more content over there related to markets, related to Bittensor TAO specifically as well. So make sure to jump over to X. I will leave a link in the description for you to grab that, but just search my name and you'll find my profile on X for following purposes. But to get back to the task at hand, this is a big deal because remember, that barrier to entry has been difficult or tricky for retail investors entering the Bittensor ecosystem, getting a self-custody wallet, getting TAO into that wallet, understanding how to use protocols like TAO Stats and Backprop Finance. There's a little bit of a barrier to entry. And so now if we jump over to MEXC, you have the ability to purchase these subnet alpha tokens like Shoots, Liam, and Hippias directly on MEXC with USDT denominated trading pairs. So that is the key difference over here as well. When you're purchasing these subnet alpha tokens directly on MEXC, they are denominated in US dollar terms. I'm looking at Shoots right now, and if you want to search for these guys on MEXC, unfortunately, it's a little bit tricky because you have to know the subnet number itself in order to search for it. If I search for Shoots, it doesn't bring up the Shoots token. I have to search subnet number 64. And again, for those of you that are a little bit newer, every subnet in Bittensor has a unique number identifier from 1 through 128 for now. You can actually find those directly here on taostats.io if you're looking to get more insights on that. But Shoots is subnet number 64, Liam is subnet number 51, and Hippias is subnet number 75. So you can search those respective numbers directly over here on MEXC. And if I'm looking at Shoots here as an example, we can see the dollar denominated price. It's at $28.66. And again, if I jump back over to TAO Stats, we can see the same thing appear here. We know the TAO price is 0.087 and the dollar price is 28.30. So there's actually a little bit of an arbitrage there. Very, very small, but a 36 cents arbitrage difference between the price specified on MEXC versus on TAO Stats directly. And you'll also notice that there is not a whole lot of price history for these charts directly on MEXC either. This is a 4-hour chart I'm looking at. And remember, these only got listed in the past 2 weeks. And so you're not going to have a lot of price history. And so if you want to actually get a better understanding of the chart itself, we can zoom out to a daily here on Shoots. We can see that we have recently found a little bit of a bottom and we're getting a bounce for the price of Shoots versus TAO, but you can get a lot more price history of the subnet itself over here on TAO Stats if you want to be going and looking back at more price history. Now, again, remember, these charts are going to look ever so slightly different as well because the charts on MEXC are denominated in US dollar terms, but these charts over on TAO Stats are denominated in Bittensor TAO terms. So this chart is representing the price action of the Shoots subnet alpha token versus TAO. And this chart here on MEXC is representing the price of Shoots subnet alpha token versus the US dollar. Okay, so they are going to look ever so slightly different. They will look pretty similar because you're seeing the value of TAO changing here over the past few weeks in US dollar terms, but they are technically speaking a little bit different because of the way that they are denominated. Okay. You can also search subnet number 75, like Hippias, for example. We can bring it up. Hippias was actually the first subnet alpha token to get listed here on MEXC, going all the way back here to the, let's call it the 24th of October. So you've got the most price history on this particular chart. But again, it's going to look ever so slightly different, and it is denominated in US dollar terms. So just remember all of that. So this is a big deal for the TAO ecosystem as a whole, because when you think about historically, the way that people get access to tokens, centralized exchanges play a very big role. Even just regular token listings over on major exchanges like Binance and Coinbase typically drive tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, and even billions of dollars worth of liquidity in the markets for these individual tokens when they get listed. And so I think this is part of a bigger trend where we're going to see more and more subnet alpha tokens get listed on MEXC specifically, yes, but also I think we're going to see other centralized exchanges following in hot pursuit. Again, the fundamentals behind so many of these individual subnets is just so strong that I think we're going to see continued growth with them. And with the price action of TAO as we approach the halving here in December, I think we could have price action moving higher in US dollar terms over the next 6 to 12 months. But for all intents and purposes, MEXC is leading the charge here, beginning to list these individual subnet alpha tokens. I think it's a part of a larger trend that involves more centralized exchanges getting on board with this type of listings in the near future. And ultimately, the net result is more liquidity flowing into TAO and subnets and more capital from retail investors beginning to speculate on these individual assets. Okay, that is the update for today's video, guys. Let me know below, which subnet alpha tokens are you holding? Which subnet alpha tokens do you enjoy having access to? Maybe I can do some additional trading updates here on MEXC in future videos for these subnet alpha tokens. Again, you may not actually prefer to be purchasing these on MEXC, but you can't deny it opens up an entirely new market of liquidity for capital to flow into subnets and TAO. And for me, that is a net positive for the ecosystem as a whole. That is it for today's update on subnet alpha tokens on MEXC. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you got any value at all, let's take 3 seconds under my finger, smash that thumbs up button. It means the world. It helps to spread the good word and grow the channel. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification icon, grab your copy of The Rise of Bitcoin in the description, and we'll catch you in the next one.